Hi, I'm Ben Stockwell. Welcome to today's podcast. I'm fortunate to be joined by Meri Jimeno from the American International Women's Tennis Team. Meri, how are you doing today?
Hi, Ben. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. How's the weather where you are right now? A little chilly?
Well, in Springfield, it's definitely chilly. It has been snowing for like the last 2 weeks. We've had a couple of snow days. It's the usual for us.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that's for sure. How have classes been going so far for you guys?
So right now we're all having online classes, except for like PT programs or some nursing and like that. But for all business major, everything is online. So it's different like challenge, but we're it's good. It's good.
Good to hear that. Now, when did you get back to Springfield? For the second semester, and where were you staying? Over your winter break.
I usually always go home for Christmas break. My home is Barcelona, Spain.
Hmm.
So I'm happy I was able to do that, especially with the pandemic going on and everything. And I came back mid January, like all other students, to start practice and classes and everything.
Now, how is everything? Back in Barcelona right now with the pandemic.
Oh, it's not great. It's not great. Everything's closed, restaurants closed, stores are closed. So I was happy to be back home to see my family and parents and everything, but a little boring maybe because you can't do anything really. But it's for the best
Hmm.
for everyone.
Yeah, for sure. Now, looking at a more positive note, kind of thinking about your home, what's something that people might not realize about Barcelona and maybe Spain as well, just in terms of a lot of people in America who just kind of know one or two things about it. What's something we might not know?
Well, something that to me, I say to people, and they're like, "What?" It's the times and the schedules we have back home. It's completely different to the American times. Like when I say to people, "Oh yeah, we have dinner at like 10 p.m., 11 p.m." Sometimes they just don't believe it. Or lunch at like 3 p.m., which is like dinner time almost here. But yeah, definitely the style of life it's completely different, especially in different areas of Spain. But Barcelona is a great city, good weather. I love it there, honestly.
Mhm. Yeah, nice. Everything I've seen about it looks like a wonderful place to
And the
be.
food, the food as well, I gotta
Yeah.
say.
For you, how did you get from Barcelona to AIC? What was that recruiting process like?
Well, I used to go to an American high school back in Spain. So I joined the high school when I was 14. I didn't speak any English then. So it was a challenge for me to, study a new language at such a young age. But since it was an American high school combined with tennis, because it was kind of a tennis academy, it was like all together.
Mhm.
So people who used to study there, they already had plans to go to the US to study. So I knew from a young age that I wanted to study abroad. I wanted to play tennis in the US. So that's why I joined that school because that was my dream, basically.
Nice. For you, once you got here, what was the biggest adjustment? It could be the times of lifestyle, like you said, or was there some other adjustment you had coming to the United States and studying here in Massachusetts?
Well, I know it's probably, same for a lot of people, but the fact of living on a campus, not living at home with my parents, and living in a totally different continent, I had my roommate or something that sometimes she would go home for the weekends to see her parents, like 3 hour drive. And I was like, wow, I wish I could do that, especially my freshman year. It was a bit tough being away. So that was my biggest challenge. I don't want to call it challenge, but the biggest difference was for me to study abroad and be in a complete different place.
Hmm. And you are fortunate to be at a school like AIC, which has a pretty large international student population. What has that been like to have that support system there? Even when you're homesick, there are other students who are coming from different places to Springfield.
It's been great, honestly. I knew American International College, like the name says. They had a lot of international students, athletes as well, like me, and it's definitely been a support to know people that were at the same situation as me. And I met so many great people there. I even met some Spanish people from Spain, one girl from Barcelona who's in the volleyball team as well. So that was great, and we get to fly home together and fly back together. So I mean, it's fun. I love having international people in my school.
Nice. Yeah, that does make it a lot easier. That's funny, but the
A lot easier, yeah.
volleyball player. For right now at AIC, what's your current major?
So I recently graduated in December this fall with a degree in economics and finance. And I decided to stay one more year since I have one extra year of eligibility because of COVID and everything. And I'm pursuing my MBA, and it's a 1 year program. So I'm really excited about it.
Nice. What did you enjoy about your economics and finance major? I would say, and what made you want to go for that MBA? But besides obviously the chance to play, another year.
So when I first got to AIC my freshman year, I think I was just a general business major, but I always wanted to do something more specific. I felt like business was maybe too general for me. So by taking, different classes, intros to marketing, management, econ, and all of that, so I decided to go to the finance side of it. I've always been good with numbers, so I thought that would be a good major for me.
Mhm. Do you have a favorite class that you had as an undergrad? Something that really just kind of stuck with you?
I would probably say I really like public finance, actually, and it's more like a government type of view for the country and everything. So I really like that class.
Oh, nice. And what do you want to do with your degrees once you leave AIC?
Don't ask me that because I still don't know. That's why I wanted to do an MBA, maybe just, to get more experience, more education, and then from there decide. I still don't know if I want to stay here or if I want to go back to Spain. I mean, my plan, I would like to stay here for a couple years, get some experience in the US, and then maybe bring everything that I've learned here back home. I think that would be an advantage for me being home and having all the studies here in America. So I think I'm going to do that.
Nice. It's a solid plan. Would your family be missing you if you stayed here for a while, or they would be pretty supportive of that?
They've always been supportive. I mean, my mom always says she doesn't want me staying here long term, but I bet that if I told them that I'm gonna stay here for a couple of years, they would be fine. I mean, I've been away from home for 4 years already, so what's one more year?
Very true. What's one hobby or interest or passion you have outside of tennis and your school?
Well, I like traveling a lot. I do that whenever I have a chance or a weekend or visit friends, especially in the US. So, because a lot of people from my high school came to the US to play tennis, I've got a lot of friends around different colleges. So, maybe I go to see my friend who studies at Bryant or St. John's in Queens. So, like, I like seeing my friends from back home in the US. So that's, I don't know, I was really excited about it, seeing my friends from home here.
That's a very cool thing to add. Is there, what's someplace great you've been in the United States that you didn't necessarily expect that you really were really impressed by or you thought was really cool?
So now that I said I commented on Bryant, I have this friend that plays tennis in there. She's in the tennis team. And, Rhode Island is a beautiful place. And I didn't even hear about that state back home. I didn't even know it was a state. But it's a beautiful state and I really liked it. Newport. And yeah, I even brought my parents there when they come visit. I really like it.
Nice. And kind of on the flip side of that, what's someplace, maybe in Spain or maybe elsewhere in Europe that you would recommend to someone who's looking to go, traveling?
Okay, I'm gonna say
Yeah.
Barcelona, of course. But there's so many different places in Spain, especially in the south. This place, Marbella, and the islands as well. They're great. We got many, many beautiful places back home, and that they're not as famous as, for example, Madrid or Barcelona, who everyone knows.
Switching over to the tennis side of things, when did you first start playing tennis?
I started playing tennis when I was 4. So it's been my sport. I never even had a break or tried a different sport. I sticked with it. My dad used to play tennis. And at the age of 14, when I joined this high school, it's when I started, competing at a higher level, an international level. So yeah, I mean, it's been my life, tennis.
What kind of fostered that love of tennis and how do you feel about it now that you've been doing it for so long still?
I still love playing tennis. I like doing physical activity. I like hitting the gym. So I don't know. I never imagined myself not playing tennis. And now that it's an individual sport, it's not like you can join any kind of league after college like other sports. So I don't know. I'm kind of not nervous, but wow! Like when I finish my MBA, that's when I'm gonna be done with high level tennis, so but hopefully I'll still be able to play with friends here and there.
Hmm. Now, what would you think is consider your best skill as a tennis player?
I think I do well under pressure. I know a lot of my teammates, when they get to that third set or when they have to win the important points in a game, they just get nervous. And I mean, me too, sometimes it's normal, but since I have so much experience with tennis and competing, I think I can manage getting those important points or those important sets. So yeah, I enjoy playing with pressure and I like playing with a crowd. So I like that.
Nice. What's your best memory as a tennis player, either in college or in high school, or even maybe before that?
So before college, I would say whenever we used to travel as a team to like different countries and play, and even though it's an individual sport, you still have your team. And when they told me I was gonna go to study in the US and I got my letter and everything, that was a very exciting moment. And it felt like a dream come true. I've been working hard for it since I was 14. So when I actually saw that it was happening, it was a really exciting moment.
Nice. You mentioned that you've been playing tennis since you were 4. Do you have another sport that you've grown to play a little on the side that besides tennis?
Not play.
Mhm.
Like the only sport I've ever played in is tennis. I'm really bad at basketball. I'm really bad at soccer, but I'm a really, really big soccer fan. My team, Barcelona, of course, I'm number one fan. I go to the stadium whenever I have a chance to watch their games. I follow it here from the US. So yeah, I really enjoy watching soccer, especially my team,
Nice. Who's your favorite player on Barcelona?
Messi.
Nice.
Leo.
Is there a professional athlete you look up to or admire?
In the tennis side, a lot of people would expect it's Rafa, but it's not. I gotta say it's Roger Federer. I love that guy. I think he's so classy playing. He has a really nice style of playing, and he's a really humble guy.
What about the non-tennis side? Is there a non-tennis athlete that you kind of look up to or you really admire?
Um, as I said, Leo Messi. I think he's a great guy. It's a god for us, for Barcelona people. Yeah, Leo and any other Barca soccer players, pretty much.
Makes sense. Do you have any pre-match rituals or superstitions you go through at all before going to play, or just kind of go out and play?
I mean, whenever we travel to different schools to play, I always like having some time to myself before the match. So either I put my headphones on or just step on a side for a bit. Nothing specific. It's just my focus time before entering to court and having a good warm up, especially. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, we got a few quick hitters here. Towards the end, do you have a guilty pleasure TV show or movie you like to watch?
Uh, so I do follow a lot of shows back home in Spain. Like I don't really watch American TV. I don't know why, but because of my friends and everything, they always be commenting on these shows or these movies. So I always end up watching them, like Big Brother Spain and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
nice. Yeah, is there a like an iconic Spanish TV show that we should know about, or that you think that some people could get into?
There's this show. It's kind of old. It's not new, but I think a lot of people know it. It's called Los Serranos.
Okay.
And even my friends that are international at AIC, they even know that show, and it's really good. We have really good like cinema and stuff back home.
Is that something you would say that people don't necessarily realize about, Spain? Is that, or, and maybe even some other European countries, it's just the industries that exist there that are so successful and so well done.
Right? Yeah, and they're not necessarily as famous as the American ones, But yeah, it's definitely big back home. And one thing that Americans don't know is that all the movies and all the shows that are from America, they translate it back home. So whenever you go to the cinema, you watch an American movie in Spanish, and it's not even the real voices. And now that I speak English, I hate it. So I try to watch them in English because it's so much better.
That's funny. Is there a book you read in 2020 that you found, really interesting, good, or that you found impactful at all?
I don't read that much, but there's this book that I read called 13 Things Successful People Do.
Hmm.
And yeah, I like reading that. It sticks to my mind and it actually helps me a lot in my personal life, academics. I really enjoy reading those kind of books.
Here for now, we'll say in Springfield, but overall, what's your favorite American food? Would you say, or place to eat in Springfield? Either or.
And I know maybe it's not too American, but Chipotle, I'm in love. Every Friday with my roommates, it's like, where should we go? And we always end up in the same place. But it's so good.
I
I
agree.
also brought my parents there.
Yeah, I had Chipotle yesterday, so I'm right with you there. When you're going back home, when you get back home, what's the first meal you want to have when you're back home in Barcelona? Either, homemade or going to an area store to eat.
Definitely homemade. My mom always does the exact same thing for when I get back from the airport, and it's some tapas, and it's some bread with tomato and some oil, and then maybe some this thing called fuet that I love, ham, just like the most Spanish food you can ever imagine. That's what I have.
Finally, what's something you hope to accomplish in 2021?
Well, as I said, I started my master's, so I'm hoping to finish it. But I think I'm doing good. I'm doing good. And then on the tennis side, hopefully we get to play maybe not a season because I know this spring it's probably going to be difficult with the COVID and everything. But I hope to still practice, get a good level, enjoy my last year of tennis with my teammates, with the coach. So yeah, I'm really happy with the team this year and last year. So hopefully we can still do good.
Mary, I want to thank you for joining us today, and good luck with your tennis season. Hopefully, the courts don't have as much snow on them in a month from now.
Yeah, hopefully not. Thank you so much for having me, Ben.